See them younger.
And we're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Episode
Shalom.
8 is upon us, boys. Ken is awake. Mr. Nate.
Barely, but we're here.
Josh is here and not widescreen.
Not eating spaghetti.
Not yet.
Yeah, there's still time.
There's time, yeah. I might pour a wine from 8 feet up.
How's it going, everybody? What episode are we on? What were we like? 11,
8.
8,
This is the
11,
Oak
10?
Show.
I have no idea. It's been so long.
You know it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
It's Saturday?
It's Saturday and the
Dude,
tournament was
stop
pushed
trolling me.
back 2 weeks.
Stop trolling me, dude. I believed you for a second. I actually did. That's how out of touch with reality I am right now. Because
Yeah, I kind of like this. Like, it's pretty wild seeing all the streamers that I like and love and that I've known for years. Everyone's just like, I thought I would have settled by now, but a lot of us are still just in the routine of streaming like 12 to 15 hours a day, just grinding. How do you feel? Like, do you think you're gonna return to normal at some point, or is this just the new normal?
I never had a normal sleep schedule, not once in my life, but I do agree. I've been going like back to back 15, 16, 17-hour streams.
Mhm.
I'm running on 3.5 hours sleep as we speak because my sleep schedule is so fucked up. So I don't know. We're here though. I don't regret it. I'm having a great time playing.
Yeah,
So, but
it's great.
That's
My
good.
how about
my
you
friends and
guys?
family have been asking. They're like, "How are you not bored yet?" I'm like, "I don't know. I love my job. Like, I really love this game." And typically, when I like a game, it doesn't go for as long as this because this is like 15-hour days every day since launch. Let's say if we think early access was launch, are we 2 months in?
More than a little more, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, a little
We are
more.
deep in it, and like I feel like we're around the corner from quests and more legendaries and more craftables and stash expansion, all the good stuff. I'm excited.
That's like a really
Boy.
good point. Like, I kind of want to touch on what you said. I have a pretty short attention span usually, and a lot of games that I play, I get bored of them. But I don't get bored of Dark and Darker, and I don't know why. Like, there'll be times where I have like burnout or like grind fatigue, but I'm never like bored. I could play this
Yeah.
game 15 hours a day, and when I get off, I'm still thinking about it, and I don't know
Yep.
what it is because it's not like a super complicated or deep game, but I don't get bored of it. And what do you think? Why do you think that is? I don't know.
I think it's rewarding.
I don't know
Like
about that.
it's really, I feel like it's rewarding. Like winning a fight, and you get, especially if they have a set, and they worked hard for the set. They had to go through the ordeal of buying it from Trade Guild. They probably had to grind gold ingots for like an hour. Like they took so many losses and wins to get there, and then you just get it back. And it's like the push and pull on both sides.
So I think I know why it is. They've applied the formula. It's the
Mhm.
same formula that casinos use, and apparently tons of businesses, Fortune 500 companies all over the planet are trying to apply the same formula. All these studies have been done in Vegas about what keeps people at the slot machines, and they've narrowed it down to three things. I saw this on Rogan, by the way. So if anybody's in the chat going, "Oh, he's ripping this off," yes, I'm ripping this off straight off Joe Rogan. They had a guest on there, and he said, number one, you need opportunity to gain something of value. Number two, you need unpredictable and variable rewards. And number three, you need high repeatability or replayability. Those are the three things that make a game in Vegas or any casino, especially a slot machine, addictive. What keeps people at the machines? And I saw that episode, and the first thing I thought of was Dark and Darker. Like every single box is perfectly checked for this game. Opportunity, like high risk, high reward. Every time you go into the dungeon, you have an opportunity to gain something of value from the game perspective, of course. It's got unpredictable, variable rewards, and depending on where you spawn, what's going to be in the chests, what players you're going to encounter, what loot you might get off them, and then of course the relatively simple but efficient, simple and efficient game loop with extremely high or fast queue times. At least now that they've merged things back together, it checks all those boxes. It's just insane.
It makes a
But
lot of
I
sense.
think you guys go ahead.
So that makes a lot of sense. So I was gonna say I think it's the stakes that does it, but you basically touched on that, and you added the other couple points. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense because I think this game attracts a lot of adrenaline junkies that are like too lazy to go jump out of airplanes, so we just play video games all day. So if we could just like log into a video game and risk thousands of gold worth of loot every raid, and when you get into a very intense fight, you get that sense of adrenaline, the sense of stakes, the same sense you feel when you're betting on a hand at the casino or something. And that was a really interesting point you brought up. Makes a lot of sense.
Coming from
it's
Albion
working.
especially, it's working. It's working. I think it's like they've taken the archaic MMORPG formula and they've boxed it up in 10 to 12-minute rounds. And so this is the only game I've ever played where I feel like, especially right now with inflation, if I drop into ruins and I have a good 8-minute match and I pull, let's just say 6 gold ore, that's, I don't know, 800 gold right now. I can already be in like a really, really good PvP set for 8 minutes of small labor, which isn't even every other game I've ever played, like let's say Albion or World of Warcraft. If I want to go mine to get a set, like I gotta go mine for like 2 hours. I gotta be on the route. It's monotonous, like it's kind of shit. Here, it's like even when I'm mining, it's the rush of being able to fight. There's sub bosses everywhere. You can play like a lot of weird little ways. Like lately, I've been pulling the cockatrice out of people and then vanishing and just transferring aggro to them. And so like there's this whole element behind mining. And after 8 minutes, now I'm in a set and I can go PvP. Or even in the same match, I kill another rogue like just now. Super awesome, man. I went to go mine some conflict gold, and a rogue came out of stealth with the swishing of the rapier with the new noises. Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Yeah.
As a legendary rapier and like half of a set with weapon damage, I just killed him. Like he missed everything. I don't know how. I was just ducking and stabbing with my little shitty, template gray set. Killed him. I was like, wow, I just got a legendary. Now I get the gold ore. I get all his stuff. Like I don't know. It's the fastest full loot PvP game I've ever played. Every 8 minutes, new fight, new loot, new round.
Yeah, I logged into Crypts for the first time today in like 4 days, and I was like, I forgot what playing Crypts feels like because I've only been playing runes. I've never thought I would say those words in my life, but I've been like it's been fun. The fights have been great, and there is so much money to be made on runes.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of touch on it, how do we feel about like gold and the gold prices? Do we think like that's good for the game, or is it bad? I think it's okay, but
It's okay.
for
Yeah.
context, chat, gold is like 100 to 200 per, and like people are going into runes and pulling up to 15 gold ore. Not obviously not every raid, but like people can leave raid with close to 3, 4, 5,000 gold worth of ore, which is kind of crazy.
I think it's perfect. I think anybody can do it, even if you're not good at the game. If you get like a best in slot spawn, like the top northwest corner, you're right next to the ore. Usually people spawn 2 or 3 modules away. You have time to get 2 to 3 ore and leave. And then if you get out with that, that's 500 gold. You're in a set. You buy consumables for like 12 raids. Whatever it is people do with their money, I really like it. And it funnels the good players there. It funnels the bad players there. And everyone's using it. Like I enjoy the fact that the end game loop right now for the really rich players is to get gold. They either buy it or mine it themselves, and then they get the Fangs of Death jewelry, the Grim Smile, they get the legendary weapons. And so I think it's just a way to speed up the game loop. And like you said, you're a crypt main and I'm a goblin main, and everyone's in ruins right now. So I think that proves that they did good with that map. It's really worth playing. And if you're not a high PvP player, you can just go to like farm wolves or like go to a different corner or what have you. Like
Yep.
everyone's not just running around the map murdering. Like in Crypts, a lot of it's just
It's
murder
true.
city. Everyone just
we're
wants the
murdering.
gold. We're murdering, but we're like
But we're murdering for the
specifically
gold. So
yeah, like one of the biggest complaints right now is that in Crypts, people just murder you and they don't even loot you and they just like go on to the next. They're just zooming around. That's
Oh,
to secure the boss though. Like that makes sense. Like you gotta eliminate the map so you can kill the boss.
like the other day, I got into a fight in runes, and this guy ran through some hills very fast, but he had a pickaxe on his back, and I knew we hit the gold ore, so I chased this poor little man through locusts for at least 3, 4, 5 minutes until we eventually got him, and surely enough, killed him at 3 gold ore. I'm like, worth it, absolutely worth it.
Yep.
Can't let him live. Yeah, like having a pickaxe on your back on runes, like is signed your death warrant, in my opinion, and I kind of like it. Like having a
I
cape.
vote for it. Yeah, it's even better than a cape. I'm like, is that a pickaxe? Oh,
Oh,
I got
yeah.
Elamu. That's my ore.
Take
Yeah.
him out, dude.
Yeah.
He's competition.
So Josh, you mentioned not only quest but stash space earlier. How sorely needed is that for all of you guys right now? I know I have been struggling with the stash space, and I've been super grateful. Can't believe I'm going to say this. Grateful for all the scumbag rogues who are taking all the gold out of ruins and making it a viable currency so that I can get rid of all my 50 gold coin bags and turn it into gold ingots.
Mhm.
They're always available in that, what is it, miscellaneous trade, right? In that channel. And that's been the only thing that's been saving me, is being able to convert ingots, or gold to ingots rather. Like the stash base is killing me right
I think
now.
it's
And
killing
that's
everybody.
across 8 characters.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. I think Iron Mace has noticed, right? The biggest thing we're probably gonna be talking about today is the speculation on what's gonna happen Friday. Because the way they worded the message is it sounds like they're gonna lower the drop rate on treasure, gold, and probably items, so they're not as common as they used to be. Probably find a balance between what it used to be and what it is now. And so, like, everyone needs stash space. You're pulling 500 gold out of Goblin, you're pulling 1,000 gold out of Crypts, and so everyone's feeling the burn and everybody's buying gold ingots and gold keys. And so I feel like we've always needed it, and somehow now we need it more than ever.
I think it's ridiculous that we're over a year into this game being playable, and we're still dealing with this tiny little stash. You can't transfer between your characters. People have been asking for more stash space or more containers for a year. It's like the number one complaint in this game. It's just ridiculous. Give us some means to expand our stash, whether it be gold, whether it be quest, whether it be crafting, something. I think it should be gold because the game needs more gold sinks. But I don't know. It's ridiculous that some days I log in and I'm like, I can't play the game unless I spend 20 minutes selling shit on the auction house, and
I know.
I hate it. Like I
Especially
love the
with
game, but I
crafting
hate it. Yeah.
materials.
But
Crafting materials just made it
Mhm.
way worse. I couldn't be bothered with it anymore. It was taking up so much space, and it's like, if I want to craft any of the decent items, I need to go find a freaking troll pelt anyway. Like I've been able to find every other item in the game, I think literally at this point, except for the rotten fluids, and I found those prior to the last level wipe, or not level wipe, but gear wipe. At any rate, like, it's just too much space. It takes too much time. I don't even want to go into the trade chat for some of the lesser stuff. I end up vendoring 90%, unless it's a wolf pelt or demon's blood or volcanic ash. Like, those are the three things I might hold on. I haven't found the token of honor yet. I lied. But yeah, it's like everything else, just vendor it.
yeah,
Don't have time for it.
those high end items at least I do hold on to. I kind of use
Right.
those. I use those as my value storage, my portfolio,
Mhm.
if you may. You know, we got some demon blood in the portfolio. We got a lot of gold, or we got some ruby silver. We got some centaur tails, the salami sticks. You know, some tokens of honor. You gotta diversify your portfolio, so you know you're not subject to the iron hammer crashing the market on you.
Right.
But yeah,
Yep, that's a good point as well, having alternate values just in case. I have, quite a few Spears of Rots and Centaur's Madness and Void Blades, and those are, like, I feel like those are guaranteed. Like, those weapons they've got good rolls, they're always gonna be good no matter what happens with the market. And heading toward Friday, it's fun because this morning the announcement was made at 2 a.m. my time, and I logged on and the gold ingot price was already half gone. It was down to 500, and now it's, like, fluctuating. It's somewhere around 700. And I think we're gonna there's still 2 days of inflation, right? So we're gonna keep going up toward Friday, but then Friday is leaderboards. So now we have the upcoming inclusive leaderboards. Prices
Hmm.
will probably skyrocket before then too, because everyone needs to build their sets now.
so is Leaderboard Friday 100% official? I'm a little out of touch. I was sleeping all
Yeah.
day. Did they announce
Mhm.
it? Like they announced it, or
Yeah, they announced it.
are they
So
doing
they said
changes, or?
Friday with the hotfix, they're gonna do a sort of deflation of the economy and drop rate, from what I could gather, and then they're introducing the new leaderboard, which is supposed to be more inclusive for more activities, I think was the words that they used, and that could mean anything. I think maybe norms will be worth, like, half as much as HR maybe. It's good to have leaderboards for everyone, and if norms are worth half as much, they're still gonna be worth doing.
That's true. Or like
I don't know what they're gonna do, but
even if they just have personal stat tracking that aren't losing leaderboard related for normals,
Mhm.
I would love that. Like Tarkov, it's like
Yeah.
super interesting to see what your stats are.
Yeah.
I'll log into like Tarkov and I'll like after a season or so and I'll check my stats and it's like, oh, 58% of your kills are with fucking Magnum buckshot. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I want to know that stuff. I love stats. It's fun. everyone wants it. Like normal players are always like, man, I kind of want to play HR just so I can see how well I'm doing. Kind of sucks that it's for HR players only. It would be cool if they did include other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of HR, that has been one of the, I feel like, positive auxiliary impacts of the economy being a little bit more inflated with gold so readily available. I haven't batted an eye about paying to go into high roller, and it's been great. It's been it's been no sweatier than normals, or certainly ruins. Like it feels the exact same. The PvE feels different, but the quality of gear on the players that I'm going up against doesn't seem crazy at all. And the loot is so good.
So good.
So yeah,
Yep.
I've played more HR in the last 3 days than I've played since the game, first debuted. It's nuts.
Till Friday.
It's nice that HR is filling up.
Right, till Friday.
But so I've been playing a lot of West, and it's a pretty big problem in West. It's back to just lobbies being full of 13 naked rogues.
Yes.
Running around looting chests, and I hate it. No, I hate it.
God, for us, like less sweaty players, at least for trios and HR, I've been going in there and I've been making a ton of friends. I've had huge rogue squads. We killed the Lich earlier with like 12 people. We ran into Todd Father's team, like Giga Juice, and it was 6v3, and they wiped the floor with us. But God, it was a cool fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that people could go in and they can make money super easily, but like HR is just, it's turning into Goblin Cave where everybody's just being friendly. Nobody wants to fight, and everybody is just farming gold. And I'm not sure if that's healthy for the game. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I'm not playing high roller because I like the PvP and have fights, and going to HR is not what you do, not where you go to do that. So I play normals these days.
That's Ruins. Ruins is the battle map now. It used to be HR Crypts, and now it's Ruins.
I don't know, because I mean, like, sure, it's great you're making money, but if you think about it, it's a problem, right? HR is supposed to be like your high-end battleground, and right now it's just turning into Orlanthe lobbies where everybody's being friends, farming money.
Wait, what?
Orlanthe lobby? Yeah, it's called an Orlanthe lobby. You don't know that?
No, I've never heard that before.
When you get into a lobby and everyone starts being a Care Bear and wants to farm money, that's an Orlanthe lobby. You heard it here first.
Okay. I did not realize that was his MO at all. All of the footage I've ever seen of him was him just W keying into the next fight trying to murder people. So that's news to me.
Those are people that didn't want to
yeah, that's the ancillary is like the 7 or 8 players behind him who have a gold key. And,
Yeah.
But this was a long time ago, back when you could infa farm treasure piles, and he was rank 1 treasure collector like 3 or 4 wipes in a row. They would just go into like Brazil and they would treasure farm. It was good, but they also had artifacts and they PvP'd at times. But I like that. I like a mix of both. It depends. If I'm really geared, I like to fight people, and if I'm under geared, I like to be friendly. And that's probably how most players operate as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm okay. I'm okay
sense.
with people like going to lobby, teaming up, and like trying to be friendly. I have the problem when I'm loading into high roller, and it's 13 naked rogues. 6 of them are definitely not speaking English. You know what I mean? And the other 3 are just like not wearing anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't mind if you're coming in ratting, but like if you're like a team of players that will also take a fight if need be, or teaming with other players. But when it's just 13 naked rogues, we've been here before. It's not good. It's not good. It's too easy to just going naked as a rogue, skip the content, loot chests, and leave with 1,000 gold in your inventory. Not healthy for the economy, in my humble opinion. Maybe I'm coming from that toxic chat perspective.
I think you're coming from the top. Any way that anybody else other than the sweatiest teams in the game can make 1,000 gold, probably like 2/3 of the round they're gonna die, right? So it takes them like 30 minutes to get the same amount that it took you to make in like 8 minutes. I think that's pretty balanced. And at least HR is full, so when you do kill the rogues, you're like, oh, look at this inventory full of treasure. They pulled all the shit out of all the
100%.
chests. Now I get to like pick him clean. And so I like that part. But
I want people to be able to make money. I really do. But I think you shouldn't be able to go into a game naked, risking nothing, on a rogue, using your increased agility, your double jump, your stealth, to completely avoid and skip all the content in the game, looting chests, running away from players, basically just not existing, and getting rewarded thousands of gold for doing so. That to me seems like, sure, it's great if you're doing it because you're making money. but
That's
it's not
nice.
good for the game. Yeah, it's great because you're the one making money, but it's not healthy. It's not good for the game.
No, I get that take. So I don't run Rogue, but I was kind of doing that with Bard. But with Bard, you don't really get to skip. I mean, I guess you could just blow through rooms and count on your action speed to get you through doors, but you really can't skip that much. You still end up engaging with a lot of the PvE, and if you're trying to keep your buffs up, everybody hears you. So that I feel like Bard is not nearly as well. I didn't see a lot of other solo bards in
The
HR,
bards,
certainly in
sorry,
hell.
the bard, what you're doing, the bard eco runs is what it should be. Like you're going in there. Sure, you could skip some mobs with going through doors. You could open up chests, have the increased luck, make lots of money. But if somebody sees you and they lock on and they want to chase you down, they can. But
they're getting me.
Let's say even me, a pretty good player and like a team of other good players, I see a naked rogue, I'm like, okay, I can't chase that guy. If I'm not in like zap range right away, if that guy wants to get away from me, he can.
He's getting away, right.
If he basically, he will only die if he chooses to die, which isn't good. Because like he'll double up terrain, he'll open doors way faster than me, he'll close them way faster than me, he'll aggro the entire dungeon, drop aggro, basically griefing a lobby, and that's just not good.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
But no, I agree. I think the Bard eco runs is what the Rogue eco run should be, where there is great reward for going through the dungeon, looting the chest, but you're more vulnerable. Like that is the appropriate vulnerability level I think it should be. I'm not sure how they could do it. I always say the issue is double jump. It's been the problem for 5 tests now. They're obviously not going to remove it, but that's where the problem comes from. Being able to scale terrain, open doors fast to everybody, and like just skipping the game it is a problem, I think. And no matter how weak or strong Rogue is, that will always be like part of their kit. And if there's money to be made, there will be 13 naked rogues in their pajamas ruining lobbies.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if SDF is going to share the latest data over, well, really over the entire. We haven't seen any new analytics since EA dropped, right?
Right.
They
haven't.
chart.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really interesting to see how things progressed in between the major hot fixes and the big patch, and what the rogue fall off was after the huge nerf, which had to be huge. Because we do know, at least maybe it's anecdotal, but I thought someone had said 50% of the player base at one point were rogues.
Oh, for sure. That
Is
wouldn't
that
surprise me at all.
I would argue that it would be more.
More?
It'd probably be more
From
back
what
when they
I've
were
seen, yeah.
assassins. Yeah.
And then we got the nerf, and I guarantee it bottomed at that point. But then they brought it back a little bit, and now I mean, Nate, I'm with you, man. Like that's all I see in ruins. It's half the lobby is naked rogues, and half of them are friendly. And in crypts and HR, I didn't do that many. I mean, I've run quite a few, but I don't know, man. I don't know how you solve the problem without completely killing the class. And we've had this talk. At least this variant of the nerf rogue talk is a little bit different now, at least than what it's been in the past.
Yeah, this is great. If this is like the rogue bashing that they're just running around naked looting too much, this is like the 10-minute weekly rogue thing, and I have nothing to say. Like this is nice. If the only issue is that there's too many of them, and that they're just kind of like a little bit too fast and they're looting a little bit too much, that's nice to come down from where we used to be. Like we were at like a 10 for all time annoyance. Now they're like a pesky 3 and they're taking up too many player slots.
Yeah, so they're not like problematic player versus player wise, but like it's a problem, right? They are ruining lobbies. I get into a game and I'm like, all right, well I mean, sure, it's a full lobby, but it's an empty lobby. So, all right, well. Minus 15 minutes of my life until I find a portal.
Nice. See, you're of the mentality that you want to be fighting 5 other squads, and each squad needs to have like some sort of comp.
Well, at least a comp.
I would be happy.
It out.
I'd be happy with one. I'd be happy with one. But right
now, Ruins
now,
with you. All right, Ruins is the battle map now.
I'm there.
Shift.
I'm there. It's all rogues. It's the same.
It's all rogues all the way down.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating here. We're back to over 50% of the lobby being rogues in their pajamas, And it's right before leaderboard season, and leaderboard's going to turn into what it was last season of who could log into the map and hunt down the naked rogues faster, and that's going to determine who is the highest in the leaderboard, and that is lame.
Well, what do you think? Should they do a shadow limit behind the scenes to where they only allow a certain amount of solos in high roller crypts? Or you say there's a max of 6 solos that can come in, or whatever the number would need to be.
That solution's been
Yeah,
suggested,
6.
but the problem is if you do that, all the rogues are just going to be in like LFG chat saying, hey, 3 other rogue players looking for, group solo parties, so we can queue up as a 3-man, but they'll just play like triple solo rogue anyway. And
That's genius.
people, yeah, I know, yeah, that's a natural solution. Like it's great in theory. Like if eliminating the amount of solo players in a lobby would work, but it just wouldn't. There'd be too many workarounds. Sadly, I don't know what the solution is. I think the problem is fundamentally the rogue kit. It's always been the problem, but I don't know how you can fix it without, like I said, ruining the class identity. Maybe normalizing the speed of opening doors might be a step in the right direction. I think being able to open doors super fast and close them before somebody else can, you're ultimately gaining ground on the opponent every time you do that. So I don't know. Maybe that's like a step in the right direction, but
Wizard Lock will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
When that comes out.
I'm terrified for that.
That'll be some nice.
I'm worried.
Some nice gameplay. But shoot, what was the other point? You just reminded me of something.
About rogues, leaderboards.
Oh. So yeah, the just the fact that they can go stealth and de-aggro, I think if you add, especially in HR, normals might be a little bit aggressive, but in HR, if you're adding like a true sight ability to some of the mobs where you don't make it as easy for the rogues to just pass through a room undetected, that would be something that would at least mitigate that a little bit, right? Without completely breaking the class.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Give the mobs, the ability to see invisible.
Like bats or something. Like all bats have true sight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, something like that. Where you could add 1 or 2 to every, third room so that they can't just traverse the entire map undetected.
That's a step in the right direction for sure. That's a good suggestion, actually. Very much so like that. But I saw somebody like smirking over there. So you think like you think rogues being 50% or lobbies being 50% rogues is like good gameplay? Good time?
I don't know, man. Like I don't play trios very often, so it's nice to me to like finally have the ability for like the regular population to go into trios and not just get giga stomped all day every day. Like there's a bunch of other little fuckers in there roaming around, a bunch of little rogues, a bunch of little rats. Like I play my vampire solo all the time in there now because I know half the lobby is rogues. And so I actually have like a good chance of surviving because there's not 5 3-mans in gear zooming everywhere. And I know for a fact come Friday that's going to change and all the juicers will be back in there. And so at least right now, I like that there's this short period of time of like a week where I can go in there with my friends and I can go in there with random comps and I can just go in there solo and I can play rogue. And sure, like a bunch of the lobby is rogues and like a bunch of people are friendly, but I kind of like that. But I understand from your guys' perspective that you want to go back to battles and like a crazy 5-party battle royale system. So I'm like smirking because I don't know what the solution is, and I really like it right now, but like probably it should change. I hear what you guys are saying. Um, don't you think Friday it'll change though? Like
Like, of course, I want battles, right? Of course, but like I'm not like solely from the perspective. I don't mind the occasional like rogue riding around making money. The problem is when it's more than half of my lobby consistently every match for the entire week. I'm like, okay, well, it's not just me. Everybody's games must be, because I'm feeling like my games are being diluted. It's like you're watering down my video game with all these rogues, and there are lobbies that I play that are just full, but they're not. They're dead lobbies, and I guess it's just kind of lame. And a lot of them are just RMTers. I think it's mostly a West Coast problem because a lot of the RMTers are West Coast because of the ping. It's a much less of a problem playing East and EU. Also on the Oceanic servers, the Oceanic players have been complaining that it's really bad in the Oceanic servers, where it's just RMT rogue players farming. Like the game is almost unplayable for these guys, and I feel very bad about it. I don't know. But I want there to be rat rogues in my games. I just don't want it to be so disproportional that it skews the balance of the lobby. Like 1, 2, 3 rogues riding around, while you have like 3 normal teams and maybe some duos. Like that's healthy, and whatever
Yep.
gets us to that kind of balance is good. I just don't know what the solution is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have found, and maybe this is stating the obvious, but if you get a padded tunic with any amount of weapon damage on it and you need money, you go to one place. You go to the Rogues
Oh
trade shop
yeah.
and you will get top dollar for that padded tunic there, because not only does it benefit them the most, so weapon damage flat out for the daggers is huge, obviously, but they have the most money. They got gold ingot to throw around like it's nothing. So you can just walk in there and throw a 1 gold ingot price on anything and you'll get people looking at it. It's
Mhm.
nuts.
It doesn't matter how weak Rogue is, what patch we're on, they got the money and they want the gear. So
Yep.
Rogue gear is always, they can be the worst dog shit class in the game. Good rapiers, good weapon damage tunics, weapon damage jewelry will always sell top dollar because of these little fucking weasels. And it's nice. That is nice.
What's also nice is no matter how geared they get, they're always paper. Like any other rogue, even naked, can kill a rogue. If you just squeeze in like 4 or 5 hits with your little Ron Diesel, your little gray, and you stack 5 poison and a rupture, you probably just killed like any geared rogue in the game. Point in fact, I was playing with Jonah Vale on Ruins, and I was on a default rogue, and another rogue was like talking shit in VoIP, and he just W keyed to me, and I just crouched down and was just stabbing him, and he died. Man had Death Bloom, like the artifact dagger. He had like 5 uniques. And I was just like, this guy is as geared as a rogue can be. And he just lost to it like a literal naked because I got 4 or 5 stabs off. So like at least rogues are like way more balanced, and they really nerfed hide.
Mm.
They nerfed hide into the fucking ground. Like you have to use it after you hear them opening the door, and then you have a very small window to like make your opportunity attack. So like they're in
What
a
is
good
it
state of
now? How
balance.
long? 20 seconds?
It's like 20
25?
seconds, yeah. It's like a minute
And does
cooldown.
any attribute or stat increase
Prob
benefit that skill?
Probably
Will.
Will might, yeah, but,
Oh
like,
yeah.
Will?
it's not gonna it's probably never gonna get to where it was. Like, they used to
Yeah.
hide for hours.
Honestly, I like. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I like where Rogue is at a power level inside
Same.
combat. I think it feels like it's still strong when executed properly on the Rogue's end.
Mhm.
Like I can still
Mhm.
get 2.5, 3 shot a lot of time if they're like medium geared, which I think is where their time to kill should be. But like they are punished for not playing well now. Like they just don't
Mhm.
get a 40
Yes.
second. They can't hide for 40 seconds super out of sound range and then get you. Like they have to like be very smart with their hide and use it efficiently and to get the ambush off, and that's how it should be. And
Yeah, they're an
then
actual assassin now,
yep.
instead of just a W king one shot.
Yeah, I think they're at like an appropriate power level inside combat, like in like a player versus players scenario. I still think they're busted mobility wise and riding maps, but inside of combat, I think they're in a good spot. I would maybe even buff some of the less used abilities, like the can crossbow perks and maybe the poison stuff. I think they're pretty good. I'm happy fighting rogues. Like a rogue will sometimes get a jump on me, but if they fuck it up, I have the opportunity to then fight back. Whereas before
Right. There is counterplay.
a rogue would
Yeah.
get the jump on me, they would fuck up, and if they would have another chance to just one shot me with their next attack. And I see a lot of
Right.
rogues. They're running like short sword now, and that seems to be the meta: short sword or rapier. And the short
Hmm.
sword is really good. They attack so
Yeah.
fast. I've
Yep.
had some quote unquote feel bad moments where like a rogue just like 3 shots me with a short sword, but he's 3 shotting me, but he attacks so fast with that short sword. I'm like, wow. Obviously, he hit me 3 times in the head very fast. He played very well, and he got rewarded
Mhm.
for playing well. But like before,
Yep.
like last patch, I would get 2 tap to the body. So having that difference feels great.
Yep.
We're in a good spot.
So while we're talking about class balance, the two biggest topics for us obviously have been Rogue. Second's been Ranger. We did talk about Barbarian a little bit, but let's camp on Ranger for a minute. I don't know about you guys. I got one shot by Soma's buddy Flow Tag. I got one shot by him in Ruins the other day. Purple longbow. I was playing Warlock at the time. I was at full health and I got one tapped, and it was like, okay. I didn't even see him. I saw his buddy. His buddy was coming at me and I was trying to evade. I stepped into the shadows and thought I was going to be able to make an escape, and then I was just dead. One arrow
Yeah.
to the head.
Yeah, there
And
is
it's
a lot of
like,
damage. There's a lot of damage in the game on gear specifically, and I like that gear is rolling high damage because it makes like higher variance in gear and makes gearing interesting. But I think the way you counter that is lowering damage on like weapons and spellbooks in general. So like getting weapon damage on gear is super awesome, but it's not like game breaking when you're putting it on top of your 50 damage epic longbow. Because I've had similar experience where like I'll be fighting a ranger on rune specifically, and if I get headshot, I'm dead. Or if I get shot
Yep.
in the
yeah,
body, I am one hit and I'm slow because I just got
yep,
hit. So I'm gonna get hit
yep.
again and I'm dead. So it's been a problem for a while.
Hmm.
It's not a problem if you're wearing PDR, but if you're not wearing PDR, like it's just you're getting one shot from out of sight range, and it's very low risk for these rangers just to be shooting arrows in your direction. They don't have like spell memory like a caster does, where they if they miss 5 shots in a row, they're out. You know, they just hit R and they could do it all again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think you saw nerf
Well,
damage or increase armor across the board or something.
Yeah, it's way too
speaking
oppressive
of,
right now, and with the healing changes, they're always up. If they start the fight and they see you, they're always up. They hit you once with the longbow. So recently, I've been playing Ranger, and like I mentioned, I have a lot of Spears of Rot and Centaur's Madness, and like I get somewhat kitted in like let's just say green blues, and it all has weapon damage on it or power. I'm hitting on the Trinity dummy for like 130 on a headshot, and I can fire 3 arrows with triple shot. I can just erase a team if I have really good aim, and there's really nothing they can do about it. And unless, like Ken mentioned, unless they're like super PDR'd out, like it's only
mhm,
basically one or maybe two classes that can sustain any hits from the Ranger. And if you swap to the longbow, it's even worse. Like you can get up to like 140, 150 on like a really nice longbow headshot. So I don't know, it's a sniper rifle, but it also has a triple shot and a shotgun at close range. So I think Iron Mace knows though. I'm pretty sure that's next up on the chopping block. And like everyone's been mentioning it, and like it's now we're getting the Reddit threads like we used to have for rogues, and just saying like daily
mhm,
reminder to nerf Ranger. So like, but I do think having said all that, we're like at the closest point of balance that we've ever been at in the
Hmm.
game. And a huge point of factor that Nizori brought up with me last night was that one thing is just the game's already been out for multiple wipes, and people are really good now. It's like Tarkov level of people have learned the routes, they've learned where to go, where not to go, where people will go. And so new players are gonna have a really hard time learning the game. But I don't know, I had a really hard time learning Tarkov, but I love the game and I just kept going at it. And so I think we're gonna have a similar thing with Dark and Darker.
Yeah.
Especially each new wipe, it'll just bring
Mhm.
everybody back.
The game is as close to balance as it's been in a long time. I said we're really like nitpicking
I
here by
agree.
like dissecting
Yeah,
Ranger, but like
I agree.
that's what we do, right? We're just trying to get the game as balanced as possible, and
Yep.
I think we're in a pretty good spot. I just think Time to Kill is still too short as a whole, and Ranger is at like the top of that pyramid of
Yep.
very high time to kill against most classes. And I think a lot of the problem is I was thinking about it. All it's kind of I guess rogues too, but all no rogues want to stack other abilities too or other stats, but rangers just want to stack weapon damage. They don't really have any other chase stats, so they could really just weapon damage, weapon damage, weapon damage on their gear on every item. At least like
Right.
from a caster perspective, like sure flat magic damage is like the comparison, but like sure I want flat magic damage, but like I gotta get like my certain intellect or my certain knowledge, and I gotta get my certain amount of will and a certain amount of health, so I'm not getting
Right.
one shot. So I have to like balance other stats before I have the luxury of stacking added magic damage. Or at least that's how I look at it from a
Yeah.
caster perspective.
Yeah,
Where
same.
on Ranger, where you don't have that, you don't like have to hit a certain agility threshold or a certain amount of strength. You can just stack weapon damage and that be your best in slot. And maybe if they had other priority stats that took a certain like
That's a great call.
you needed over weapon damage, it would lower the amount of weapon damage they were able to build.
And that's an easy one, right? Just tie bow damage to something else. Like
Hmm.
we've said it for a long time that like Rangers' primary stat shouldn't be strength. It should be like I don't know agility or what have you. Because then they're fast and they hit hard, but they also don't get the health pool bonus. So
Hmm.
maybe I don't know tie it to like make dexterity a new stat and it's specifically for range damage.
Or you can make like weapon damage only apply to melee, and you can make just a plus physical really for like the range weapons.
Hmm.
Just off the top, I mean, maybe that's not a good idea, but something along those lines.
Yeah, and that also hurts crossbows a little bit because crossbows are also pretty boosted. It doesn't feel that great to get basically one shot by a crossbow
Hmm.
most of the time. So I don't know, like range damage is a small issue in the game, and they did a good job balancing the magic. But I feel like the bows and the crossbows need like a little bit. Yeah, but like you said, we're kind of nitpicking, which is
Yeah.
nice. It's nice. There's not a glaring issue at the moment.
How are you
Yeah.
feeling about barbarians? I haven't done much 3v3s, so I haven't ran into too many buff ball comps. The buff ball comps I have ran into, I've been able to deal with them. I'm just so used to it now. But they do feel toned down. I still think playing buff ball barbarian is still probably the strongest thing you could be doing in the game, while also being the easiest. But it definitely feels way more manageable than it's been in the past. I'm not sure if you guys have dealt with many barbarians recently.
I feel like I barely see them. It's usually a fighter or now a cleric on the front line, rocking like 50 to 60% PDR, and then they also have like some wills. They can have some mid-range pressure on the way in
Mm.
for the holy strikes and the earthquakes. You know what? I do have. If we can just shift slightly, you know what? Actually, let's get Arcane's perspective on Barbarian, and then I want to swap to Cleric a little bit. I feel like Cleric
Yeah, we
needs a
can keep
nerf.
this short. I'm with you guys. I haven't seen that many. I did one incident I recall. I was on Ruins and I was playing Bard solo. And to be fair, I didn't have Accelerando running, but I got chased down by the fastest Bard I have ever seen. It was terrifying. And obviously, I can get through doors fast and I can still move fast. I thought I had a full room head start on this guy. I shut the door behind me. I was halfway, I felt like halfway across into the next module. And before I knew it, the wizard fireballed the door. It was a wizard and a barb. And it felt like a half a second later, that barb was on top of me with a quarterstaff, two taps me, and I'm gone before I could. I literally jumped out of my seat. I was so scared that he had caught me that fast, so shocked that he had
Mm.
caught me that fast. Like I hadn't had one of those holy shit moments in like, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks. And it was from a barbarian. And holy Lord, was he kidded. But I don't even know, like 350 is the max move
Yeah,
speed now, right? Like
maybe
they
he got a
hard
haste
capped it.
though, like from the Wiz.
Oh
I
yeah, it had to
probably
be.
should have reported him. Like the speed was so insanely fast. And it was like, what can I do?
Mm.
Like I I had no way to deal with that. But luckily that was a isolated incident. I haven't dealt with too many nasty buff ball barbarians myself. So I think, if we tone down, we talked about this last week. I think you did, Ken, when we were on Darkest Hour. You can't give them the ability to be a tank, a high damage dealer, and like high magic resist all at the same time. Like that's still an issue, but I don't feel like people are abusing it as much as they probably should be abusing it.
It'll be more telling when Friday comes and leaderboards are out and like people are playing their best in slot comps. If it's still a problem, I think it's like it's not that fun to play. So when there isn't leaderboards, I don't think everybody's playing it.
Yeah.
People abuse it for when leaderboards are out or like when they have to get money or something. So come Friday, we'll know a lot more. But it's definitely better than it was. I think Iron Mace did very smart nerfs to the Barbarian. They minus I think the Magic Res was like the wrong direction because you want them to be the Magic Res tank and not the armor tank. But they like targeted their gear, they hit the leggings, they hit their chest pieces, and like that's exactly what you should be nerfing. They nerfed their mobility, so like that was smart on their end. Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction. Definitely better than what it was. That feels way more manageable. When I see a buff ball, I'm not like, "Ugh, I guess I'm just dead." I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a hard fight, but there are things I could do, and that's what it should be.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Hmm.
All right,
All
so
right. What do you want to
Cleric.
move on to, Josh?
I think Cleric needs a bit of a nerf because it's now that we've got the Earth Wizards out in play, right, with the earthquakes and the holy strikes. These spells take zero skill at all to use, and they're some of the strongest spells in the game. They're basically low IQ wizards at this point, and they're so very strong. The AoE on both of those spells is huge. Earthquake lasts a tremendous amount of time, so I think those need a slight nerf, or maybe move them to the druid entirely and return cleric because cleric can play every role right now and it plays all roles well. And maybe that's what they're going for. They want each class to have like a variety of subclasses, but I just think cleric overall is too strong. It gets played, it can still cast fast as hell, even though it's played. It's one of the first games I've ever played where they're like tanky and they're extremely strong in magic and they're very strong in melee now that everything has armor piercing. So I don't know what it is. Like I think you have to give Holy Strike The same thing that Lightning Strike has, where it's a small delay and then also lower the AoE range. It's crazy that they can hit the whole
That would be
group.
fair. I would agree with that.
Like, it's
That would
just a
be fair.
really strong spell, and they have 4, and they just chug Clarity Potions and keep spamming them. So, I don't know. I like, they're nitpicky as well, but bring Cleric down a little bit. Like, they've
Well,
always been
clarity pots
strong.
were the great equalizer. Like clarity pots just made it convenient for wizards because they already had a mechanism for getting their spells back fast with meditate, obviously. But clarity pots completely changed high end cleric play, 100%. So I don't know. Maybe you start there so that they can't just spam spells. They should have to
Yeah.
really think about it.
And they're expensive, but, like, I don't like that we can't count spells anymore. It makes the outplay potential kind of weak. Like, I understand that we kind of need Clarity Potions in a way, but at the same time, Bard is in a good enough spot now, and Wizards have Meditate. Like, give Cleric the ability to meditate, maybe, but like they shouldn't be able to use six Holy Strikes and 3 Earthquakes over the course of a fight.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
just
no,
area
yeah.
denial to the max.
Yeah,
Yep.
like the offensive spells in particular in Cleric are problematic. Like Holy Strike on its own isn't like a super high base damage ability, but it does scale decently well. And like what you said earlier, the problem with it is it's so easy to hit. It's instant
Right.
cast in a giant AoE. It's like I can close my eyes against a 3-man, and I can probably hit 2 of them just with my headphones alone. You know what I mean? And Earthquake is insane. Earthquake is basically an AoE stun. It's a giant AoE stun, and in a game where there are no giant AoE stuns, so it feels crazy that having a giant AoE stun on the support class that also has 70 PDR that could heal with 150 HP. It's a little crazy. It is a little crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure what they could do. I think Earthquake is just like fundamentally doesn't really fit into the game that well. Maybe they could rework the ability and change it so it's just like a slow that does like AoE damage, but not like instantly kills you if you're moving. But it's crazy that if you
Right.
take 2 steps, you die,
Yeah.
and then you have to stand still, which is a death sentence in and of itself. I know it's a little weird.
Right.
Or have some
Yeah, I
kind of
think they should
counterplay.
tone down the damage. Maybe make the movement speed penalty a little bit more. I mean, it's already 50%, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like 50% is pretty significant. So I don't even know if you need to amp that up at all. But yeah, toning down the damage, I think, would be fair on that for sure. Locust Swarm needs a rework. And yeah, I agree completely that Holy Strike needs to have a higher skill cap in the way that you cast it. The range isn't bad. I feel like the range is appropriate. Like you can't go too far away with it.
Yeah, the range is good.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I would swap out. I mean, if they can't figure out how to deal with Earthquake and if it doesn't really belong in the game, I would gladly see that swapped out for something that gives us a little bit more utility or some way to disengage. I mean, right now, and you're saying it's instant cast. I'm telling you, unless you're geared, which now it's kind of easy to get geared, so there is
Mhm.
that argument. But if you're playing like with grays, whites, greens, you're not insta casting
Not
anything
Earthquake. Yeah, no.
except bless. Like you need a half hour to cast freaking Earthquake,
Hmm.
and even Holy Strike is still not. It's not even close to insta cast. It takes a little time. So that's the great equalizer. But once you get gear on, I can see how both of those are extremely problematic.
It would be interesting if, kind of like how wearing heavier gear makes you move slower. If like the heavier you gear, the more it affects your cast speed.
Yeah.
And
Every game has that.
Mm-hmm.
You sacrifice cast speed for wearing plate.
Yeah, because it would be a real cost. Okay, I want to be this heavy cleric, really tanky, but because of this, now my really long casting spells, i.e., Holy Strike and Earthquake, are going to be more cumbersome. So there
Yeah,
will be
that'd be fair.
and then if you want to do like this quote unquote Earth Wizard, you want to be lighter, and that honestly makes perfect sense. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, good call.
I like that, yeah. But yeah, no, I think besides that, Cleric feels like it's in a pretty good spot. They feel like I see Cleric, I feel like I could. It's basically just Holy Strike and Earthquake. That's the problem for me. I think their support abilities are fine. Like the problem with Holy Strike is the AoE is so huge. I could be behind cover, away from a Cleric, like 2 meters behind cover, and the AoE will still just hit me. So
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think they're aware of it. They already touched Earthquake a bit because Earthquake was crushing people.
Yeah, but that was doing actual 2x damage. Like, it was actually bugged. And I still think the damage is a little bit too high. Because like you said, like, you're always moving. Also, it's not like Anyway, so we'll leave that as it is. We kind of all agree it needs some little bit of a nerf here or there,
Yeah.
but overall, great
How do you guys
direction.
how do you feel about all the mats being in rotation?
The crafting mats?
No, maps. Sorry. So they brought high roller maps down to normals,
Love
Oh,
it.
that's
Oh, I love
right.
it.
normal
Yeah, love it.
maps.
Yeah, I
Like,
love
That's
it. I
great.
love
yeah,
it. Yep.
More. Give us more.
Give us more.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
I
loving it
like.
too.
I load in and I'm never bored. I'm never, because like playing High Roller was exhausting. Like, oh, we had this map. Oh, we had this map. Okay. Play the
Mhm,
same 2 maps over and over again. But now, like every time I learn a match, it's fresh. Like,
mhm.
sure, I'm starting to learn them all now, but it's a lot more to learn than just 2 maps. And it's always,
Right.
every game feels very unique. And going back to the point of like the game not feeling boring, part of it is
Yep.
the map diversity. Every time I go
Mhm.
in, I have a different route. I'm never doing the same route. I'm not rushing the same spawns anymore. I'm always doing something
Yep.
a little different. I'm like, oh, we have this map. We have this and this map and this map. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, we're here. We can
Yep.
go here. Like it's always fresh. And I think more. Just give us more maps. The more, the
Yep.
better. The more
Yep.
I
maps you
think
add.
That's probably my only complaint about Ruins right now is that because you only have that one map, like the spawn rushing and the people that know that map well, it's just out of control. There,
Mhm.
everybody knows where the gold is, the royals. Like if you spawn in the top left corner of the map or the module 2 down from that, you have a limited amount of time before 2 people come rushing in there
Probably
to take
more.
your royal coffin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or more,
I
right?
had at the Northwest conflict ore spot. I had 5 teams in the first 30 seconds. Like I
Yep.
came into that and there was a rogue killing a warlock. I killed the rogue. 2 rogues came into the cave when I was mining, and just as they came in, a barbarian and cleric came in behind them, and we're all just looking at each other. And I was like, "This is death. Like everyone
Yeah.
here is dead." I like the fact that the conflict ore, almost all of the cave systems are one way in, one way out. So you can always ambush. There's like a huge risk to gathering the ore. Um, but yeah, that could use some variations.
Oh,
I think
the
what
the
we
amount of
should
times I've
do.
been pinned in those caves. Sorry, sorry to cut you off, but like the
No, no,
amount of
please,
times
please.
I've been like pinned in a cave and like I'm like, oh, this sucks. But
Mhm.
but when I say it sucks, that's good. I'm being
Yeah.
punished for being greedy. I
Yeah.
I was
Especially when you hear
taunted.
them. Yeah.
I was taunted by the
Yeah.
ore, and
Mhm.
now I'm
Yep.
stuck in this cave, and there's some warlocks spamming hydras, and I'm pinned. And
Right.
I'm like, all right, we just gotta outlast them until another team comes by and jumps them. And
Yep.
it always happens. If you just bunker down in the cave and turtle up, if they're outside, they're at the risk because
Mhm.
another team's coming, and once they get jumped, that's when you can leave. And it's actually
Yep.
like fighting in the like over the ore is
It's
actually been a lot
really
of fun.
cool. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
crazy.
I like having hotspots. I think the game could use more hotspots on the other maps because like having points of contestation is like very good,
Mhm.
and
I
getting
agree.
people all to go to an area for even if it's uncontested, you get a reward for it. But then if it's contested, you get a battle out of it. So it's like a win-win. We need
Mhm.
more hotspots in some of these other maps. I'm not saying add gold or to crypts or anything, but like something worth hunting for of value. Like it's not worth it to go around hunting down champions and race. Give us something unique to crypts that's like sought after, that's map specific, that will create hotspots similar to what ruins would be. I think that'd be very good.
Mhm. And now we know that they can do it, right? You limit gold ore somewhere, and then you make it tied to the end game stuff, and now you have a whole rotation of battles and like an economy around it. And so they can easily do the same to crypt. Add like an HR crypt specific resource. You need something to get it. Like let's say it's spider web. Like I know it's random and we can already get it as a drop, but like you have to wear spider silk gathering gloves, and now everyone brings in like a 25 gold pair of gloves, and you have to equip it and then try to grab the spider web, and like that in and of itself could lead to the same sort of system. But I think we should stick to the current queue. I like solo duos, trios, and let's add more maps to those. So like let's put Cyclops and the snow map into the solo queue. And now instead of queuing Goblin Cave, you just queue solo. And you get like the HR Goblin map, you get like the normal Goblin map, or you get, the snow map.
Hmm.
And if they do that and they keep those rotating, that's going to keep the game really fresh. Like you just go solo, you get like one of like 18 variants. Because right now that's how it is with Crypt, right? There's like 6 or 8 maps, and then they're the same pretty much 6 or 8 maps when you go HR. So now you're practicing for HR in norms, and I
Yep.
think it brings a lot of viability.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I want
it's
no more
nice,
queues. I want like so do a trio. I
like
think it's
fast
okay.
queues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever
Yep.
maps they add in the future, put them in one of those 3 categories and
Hmm.
just throw them into rotation. Don't make it separate. I agree. Like any new, I kind of like just don't have a third teammate. I'll go queue duo. I like having the option. I really do. And
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't mind playing duo Crips if like duo Crips was like Crips was in the duo rotation. I wouldn't mind it honestly, but
I don't think
Yep.
anybody would. That would be really cool if it was the same amount of
Yeah.
players. You get like
No, it'd be
10
great.
teams in there. You can
Yep.
also duo the bosses. I think every boss in this game, I've soloed almost all of them except Warlord now. They're all duoable for sure.
mhm,
If anything, duo is like just as good as trios because then you have enough people to absorb the Lich. You can rotate around Ghost King. So,
a lot of
what do you
fun.
guys think about Warlord coming to HR? Is that exciting?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, he's coming. They've decided that he needs to be moved into Inferno HR and be one of the 3 bosses.
Well, it's cool, I guess. It'll get more gold out of the economy because 1/3 of the time you're just not going to be doing bosses now, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. He's probably gonna be
What do
one of the
you
hardest
guys?
bosses to grief, at least.
Yeah. What do you guys think the success rate is currently on what? Let's say above average kitted teams. Let's just say average. Your average kitted team that goes down to Inferno, 3 people fighting the Warlord. Success rate estimates
6%.
50%,
Yeah, I was gonna say
6.
10%. Yeah.
Yeah, like
10.
6 to
Yeah.
10. I have
Oh,
fought Warlord even in legendaries
whoa!
a shitload of times, and we've almost always wiped. I've killed him like 4 times
Holy
ever.
cow!
Well, like first
Yeah.
of all, you need a cleric. Like you, in theory, you could do without a cleric, but like you need holy purification. You have to kill the ads. Ideally, the best way to fight Warlord is just to have 2 clerics, so you instantly kill the ads every time. That kind of makes it really easy. But unless you're doing that, like these average teams going down there, you make one mistake, he kills one person, he gets a huge buff from killing somebody, and
Huge buff.
that buff
It's
is
fucking out of
basically a wipe.
control.
It's
That's a
not like
wipe.
yeah, it's not like Ghost King kills your fucking teammate. He gets an extra scream. Lich kills your teammate. He gets a big shield. Now it's okay. Warlord killed one, but somebody. If the rest of you stay in this fight, you're going to die. You're
You're
on a
fucked,
timer.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his buff is way too crazy.
Not to mention like the amount of times the boss bugs out, the amount of people dying to the
Mhm.
bug. Like the boss is
Mhm.
not HR ready. I think it's a huge mistake. Even if the boss wasn't even bugging out, I still think it's just a miserable boss to fight and shouldn't be in HR. Really.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is that it's the only boss where it's impossible to recover your teammate's solar gear. If you walk back in that room, you're dead because the ads teleport in front of you, they block the doors, you get stuck in the bone prison, they throw knives, you're dead. That boss is fucking crazy.
That's a good point. Like at least like sometimes if your teammate dies on a boss, you can go recover gear and like try to salvage the play. But if your teammate dies on a warlord and he's not in a good spot, sorry man, you gotta leave it
Yeah,
behind.
it's
You gotta leave it behind.
so many times I've died getting my teammates stuff, and now I'm just like, no. They're like, but it's Biss. I'm like, I don't care. You shouldn't have died. I don't know what to say. That's
So
death
do
if
we
I go
think
back in there.
maybe? Do we think maybe they'll move the current build of the Warlord over to High Roller as it is, and then nerf the Warlord for normals?
That
Does
would
that
be
seem like
great.
a reasonable approach, or does it
It's
still, if they just
it's
move
still
it, they
too
fix the
hard.
So
bugs,
what you just
and
suggested is super reasonable, and that means they're not gonna do it. They will not.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna give him a huge buff in HR, and he used to kill the whole room on a sword swing if someone's dead. Now he kills like all of Inferno. He swings horizontal and half the modules die. He is boosted, man.
He's like not it's like not even a fun fight either. Like ghosting is like fighting ghosting is fun and like
Mhm.
exciting. If you mess up, like you get punished for it. When I fight Warlord, I'm just like, fuck. It's only a matter of time before I roll some bad dice here, get some bad RNG, and he kills me. That's what it feels like. I really feel like I'm just rolling dice
Mhm.
when I fight him.
Yeah, both his ads throwing daggers, and then when he does the dagger storm, like both of those basically one shot you. Even if you're geared and like it's really it's like Ken always talks about in PvP, like the feels bad moment when like you're trying to get a hit in and you're trying to rotate and then he just suddenly throws daggers out around him and if you're within like 6 feet you die. And I'm just like, what? Like I'm in legendary, like what the fuck, man? I don't like you have to have a shield. Like yeah, it's too comp based. You have to have specific things, and I don't like it
Yeah, very
either.
comp
As
based.
somebody who always gets everyone to
Mhm.
do it and pisses everybody off, I've suggested some nerfs. Like it needs to be weaker. It's not a fun fight,
Mhm.
especially in norms. Like Nate always says, even if we win, what are we really getting in normal? Like 2 purples, and like we've sacked so many gear sets and so many legos fighting that guy. Um,
The
It's
risk
not
is
worth it.
never worth the reward on
Yeah.
Warlord. Like, sure, do it for content. I get it. It's fun sometimes, but like,
Also,
yeah, no.
they nerfed him, right? Like they nerfed all the normal bosses. I don't remember reading it, but normal bosses no longer drop legendaries.
Yeah.
And there's no treasure hoard. So like bosses are worse than ever to go for when every other chest in Inferno gives you like 3 or 4 purples and capes and like
Until
crafting
Friday.
mats. Yeah, until Friday. Yeah, yeah.
So I sorry, I mean, yeah, bosses not dropping stuff is like lame, but I do like having going to hell and having the choice. Okay, are we bossing? We're gonna spend a lot of our large percentage of our time doing the boss, or are we gonna do like the Minotaur Triforce, where we're gonna
Mm.
go around the world and farm the money rooms? And like having that choice is actually cool and interesting. I like the
Yeah.
fact
It
that
is, yeah.
it is a choice, so that
And
is cool.
I just remembered as well that they added the crafting loot. Like I just got my first void essence from killing the lich.
Mhm.
That's like a gold key on the spot because everybody wants void blade. And like that part is nice that the bosses have some bigly loot just in their loot table. Plus you can get gold keys. I've never had one from a normal boss, but they can drop. So there is like a lot of very rare loot. I'm also excited to see them expand on that. Like, do you guys think when we get hideouts, what if we got like a little cosmetic drop, like a 0.1% chance to get like the lich's head, and then you can sell it on auction or like put it in your hideout?
I
I
mean, I
think
would love
those
that.
could go really far. Even like a pet.
As a trophy or as a
Yeah, like as a
crafting
trophy
material?
or like I mean crafting material those exist, but like we can expand on it. But like what if you kill a
Mhm.
dire wolf and you can pull auto on like 1 in a million? Like imagine how many gold keys and auto will be worth that you can put in your
Mhm.
hideout and he just roams around.
That'd be awesome. Surely that would be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, the crafting in general is like has been one of my favorite things that they've added to the game recently. I just love
Mm-hmm.
how interesting it not only makes crafting itself interesting, but like looting interesting. I pick up so much more shit that I wouldn't normally pick up. I loot mobs I wouldn't normally loot because I'm like, you get some demon's blood. Oh, okay, I'm looking for the
Mm-hmm.
fucking the salami sticks, the centaur tails.
Those tails, man. I've been
Yeah,
chasing them.
and like
I've never had a
I
horn,
craft a
but
lot. I craft a
yeah.
lot. Like I craft gear every day. Like every day, every after every game, I'm looking at my tailors and my leather workers and my
Mm-hmm.
weaponsmiths. I'm looking for good rolls. And if I get them, like I'm making cape of darkness, I'm making robe of darkness, I'm making the demon clad sets. I'm looking for mana spheres. Like I'm like it's cool that crafting is in, and I can't wait for them to add more of it because I think the best end game gear should be crafted. I think I'm not sure if that's a hot take or not, but it is very rewarding to go around to ruins, to crypts, to goblin caves, farm these materials, buy these
Mm-hmm.
materials, and then craft an awesome piece of armor that when I bring into raid, it feels good. I don't know. I
Yep.
like it.
I like that
Yep.
too. That's a good call. And it really is best in slot. Like some of my spears of rod are like +1 all, +3 strength, +4 weapon damage, +6 power. Like though it's really basically this. At least on the legendary level. And the fact is you're probably never gonna roll uniques or artifacts that are like that much better. And that the chances of getting those are so low anyway that I
Yep.
agree with you. What do you guys think about the current system for artifacts and uniques? I really like that they're pretty exclusive to HR bosses and that they're very, very rare. I don't really want them to
Mhm.
intrude upon the game world. I think they're too expensive, but I also think that it feels like almost nothing is better. So far I've gotten 2 artifacts this wipe, and like each time I'm like, no way. Like, wow, I killed 200 last wipe, I didn't get one. Now I've killed 20 and I have 2. Like it feels really good to know that I just got 10 to 20 gold keys from like one drop.
Yeah, I think the rarity of artifacts is fine.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
think it's what
spot.
it should be. Like it's very inaccessible to the average player, like me
Hmm.
included. And like I think that's okay. I
Hmm.
think it's because they're so powerful. Because like when there's somebody in my lobby who has a Fulgor or has like a artifact, everyone's like, oh shit.
Hmm.
I get the same feeling I got like years ago playing Star Wars Galaxies, where if you would run into a Jedi, you're like, oh shit, this guy's a badass. Like, we gotta be careful. And like, you get a similar feeling when you see a guy with an artifact in this game. So like,
Especially Fulgor, man. There's spinning, and you hit like 7 people in the lobby and the dummies. And there's just lightning everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, it's Fulgor." Like I don't know. Everyone comes over and starts like bowing.
nah, that's awesome. I would like to see them do maybe some end of season events, kind of like Tarkov does, where maybe at the
Mhm.
end of the season, maybe they just like give out artifacts like the last couple of days for everybody to just
That's what I said
fuck
too.
around with.
Buy them from
And
Jack, like 90
oh yeah,
candy.
that's a great
Then
idea.
the
Oh,
candy
yep.
prices skyrocket. Everybody has
Mhm.
artifacts. Like that'd be sweet.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a very good idea.
It's artifactual.
So are you excited for leaderboard grinding?
I actually am, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the current state of the game, but it truly gives me something to work toward and look forward to. And now I'm trying to figure out who do I want to do because I'm thinking it's probably the same as it's ever been, where it's linked to one character. And so for the first time, I'm kind of not sure. Like we're in a good state of balance. Typically, I sort of meta Slav, and now it's like I don't know. Rogues are good, rangers are good. I feel like clerics are great. Like warlocks are in a good spot. So who do I want to leaderboard with? And then at least for me, what I always do is I make 3 of that character and I fill their stash with sets, and then I can just transfer like,
Yeah.
1 set across 2 or 3 set or whatnot. And so yeah, I like it. And also I haven't been competitive at all like the last 2 weeks, and so it'll be nice to go back into a bit of a competitive mindset. Because like leaderboarding is a little bit competitive, but at least for me and goblins, most of the players in there are still just regular players. Whereas I feel like when I go crypts, like when I'm scrimming for the tournament, that's always sweaty. Like Crips is always sweaty.
Yeah. Like, so people keep coming into my stream, they keep asking me, "Oh, hey Ken, you excited for leaderboards?" And everything they say, I'm like, I'm really not. I've had more fun not leaderboarding this past
Mhm.
week than I did the entire leaderboard season previously. It is always way more fun to not be leaderboarding, and that's not good. It's not good that
Yep.
like one of your top players who like grinds leaderboard is like, this shit isn't really fun, and I don't know. I
You're
think
not the only one.
yeah.
Jay
Oh, I
feels the
know.
same way.
Oh, most of the people who grinded do. It's just the leaderboards were made for like the week-long play test, and now they persisted past that. And I don't know. They
Yeah.
had to do some changes. They alluded to maybe doing some changes to them, so I'm excited for that. I think one of the
Yeah.
main
What do we
changes.
think?
Sorry, what was that?
No, you're good. You were
Yeah.
heading there already, and I
Yeah, I was
interrupted you,
saying
but
one
you're
of the
good.
main changes I think they should make that's like a no-brainer is I think the overall kill board and the overall like stat tracking boards should be all of your characters. You should have class-specific boards, but then like the overall kill
Account
veteran adventure it
specific.
should be a
Yeah.
account-specific amongst all your characters. Because I
Yep.
it feels bad feeling pressure to only play one character the entire wipe or the entire season or whatever. And like sometimes I just like want to play my warlock for a little bit, or I want to hop on the cleric and have some fun.
Right.
And it would be cool if getting kills on those characters would attribute to something, you know?
Right. Oh, that would help with burnout so much. So going back to the very beginning of the show when we were talking about how you're not getting like there's a little bit of burnout, but you're not getting bored. That to me, whenever I feel like I'm starting to get bored, I know it's my fault because all I have to do is switch characters
Exactly.
and I'm immediately fine again and excited to play again. There's always something a little bit different I can do with each character. So I've got 2 bards, 2 clerics, ranger, fighter, and I'm missing one. What am I missing? A wizard. And yeah, I end up even like switching between my 2 bard characters or my 2 cleric characters. Like just going back to one where it's like, oh my gosh, I have completely different gear sets on this guy, and these would do really well if I played solo on this map for this purpose. Like maybe I should go. I'm not going to mine with a cleric typically, but you get the point, right? Like certain gear sets are going to have better situational utility, and I don't know, like just that part of the game is awesome. So for people that are grinding leaderboard over the course of 2 weeks, which I think is the number one thing they should change. So maybe 1A, what you mentioned, I think is probably the most important, like giving the account wide recognition while you're grinding the leaderboard. But the tie for that has got to be the duration. I'm really curious to see if on Friday they say, okay, leaderboard comes out Friday and it's
One
going to
month,
run through the
baby.
weekend. Through the weekend.
Yes.
1 month.
Like run it through the
That's
weekend.
marathon, baby. I'm in.
Try
All
and
right,
do it
let's
Here at Iron
weekends
Mace,
only.
this is our hardcore game where you have to grind for a month straight. You have to say goodbye to your family, and you got to grind these leaderboards because our game is
yes.
hardcore. No, that'd be miserable. I hope it's weekend. I hope it's shorter. I think there's a plethora of options they could choose from for like the duration of leaderboards, but just to touch back on the overall like kills, like account wide sharing kills, like that's a no brainer. Like that wouldn't negatively affect anybody. That's only upside. I think there's much more controversy like talking about like season wide duration, leaderboard grind duration, and like how we want to tackle that issue. Another no brainer I think that they should make, either you don't have to remove escape artists, but I think you could replace escape artists with an assist board. I think having like the support players on a team aren't recognized enough. I feel like people should be, their assists should be tracked when you assist in a kill, because it's just killing blow based, and that's a little lame in my opinion.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I play with some of like the best clerics and the best bards in the game, and they got my back, and they're keeping me alive through thick and thin, and they're not recognized for it, and it feels bad for them.
Yep, I agree 100%.
So do you guys think escape artist is like a good stat to track? I think they should get rid of it. I think having an escape artist leaderboard promotes ratty gameplay.
Yes.
What do you think?
I like it. Watching NBoss get rank 1, he had like 400 escapes and like 40 kills at most. I was like, I applaud this man.
Like I said, I'm not gonna die in this hill. Like I said, this is like me being nitpicky.
Yeah,
I ran into like the rank 1 rogue escape artist in a high roller last season, and he was just hiding in a corner, just like literally in a spawn box, just like waiting. And I only knew he was there because a skeleton mate tried shooting him through a wall. And I'm like, this is how this fucking guy's playing to get rank 1. He's just sitting in it, and I killed him. His inventory was just full of invisibility pots. And I'm like,
hell yeah,
this guy is sweating. It's funny.
That's a good story. And yeah, watching NBoss plays Swarm. All season he was in Goblin War Camp over where the static extract is in Goblin. And he would just be Cleric, he would be campfiring with physical healing, he'd be healing himself out of zone, he had clarity pots. That man lived there. And I don't know, it's like ridiculous that that's a thing, but also at the same time, I don't know, like leaderboards are arbitrary, so it's kind of cool that people who feel like ratting actually have like a rat board. Like an all-time rat leaderboard.
I'm not like against it. It's just like
yeah,
funny.
like it's to me it's the same as treasure collector, because like I want to go out with people's gear, but I don't get any points, and then I have to like struggle when I'm like rank 8. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I go look at NBoss. I'm like, what? He's just looting fucking chalices in the Locust all map. Like he's never fought anybody. But it's a different play style. But all right, we're coming down to the wire here. Let's take some questions from chat and see what our chats think and what they want to talk about, especially heading into the deflation period on Friday, the opening up of the leaderboards. And let me just quickly, before we take a question, when do you guys think we're going to get the big content patch and wipe? I'm talking questing, Druid, Cyclops, new map.
So I'm not sure when. Like I'm not gonna say here and like I have an idea, but whatever the time frame is, it should be before Steam. Like,
okay.
You want to get questing, skills, new map out, boom, big hype, then Steam, like in that order. Like I'm not sure what the time frame is, but that should be the order of operations. In a perfect world, that would be around Christmas time for maximum hype and maximum game sales, but that might be too taxing on their bottom line or schedule. But yeah.
Wait, I want to make sure I understood the question you're asking, Josh. You're saying just the biggest content patch, or just the next one?
No, the biggest one. The biggest one.
Oh, the biggest one. I agree. Then I think that'll be around Christmas. Hopefully it'll coincide with Steam release. The next one, though, if I'm not mistaken, they said was planned for the end of this month or early November, right?
Yeah, the big like balancing.
Right.
I'm not sure what would come with that.
Where we might even be getting questing. That was the way that I interpreted.
Did he word a quest, or was how he worded it?
A quest. That's what it was. Yeah, it was the SDF Q&A that came
hopefully
from.
It's 50
so my
steps.
guess would be November 3rd on that. Just the way the calendar's shaping up, they've got various Halloween events planned. The what was that? Did you guys read through that community announcement today about the contest for artwork? I didn't really.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't read it. I saw that it came out though. It was like a Halloween art event.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they're giving away. There are a couple different things. They're giving away like 5 bluestone shards, another a specific an artisan Discord role, And then there was another. Oh, there was like your art will be featured in the Hall of Fame, I think. Which I don't know if that's a Discord thing only, or if that would possibly get your artwork somehow into the game itself,
I
which would
hope
be
that
really
one.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they made it into like a little pixel painting and put it in there, that would be really cool.
That'll be cool.
All right, so what do you guys got, chat?
So while we wait for some questions, is there any changes you want to see to the leaderboard specifically, like certain things tracked or big changes besides like duration and stuff? Any other things? A better arcane.
Um. Aside, well, I guess nothing new. We've covered a lot of this in various shapes and forms in the past. The big thing for me would be to have it not be, not only would I like the duration to be shorter, but if we had it be like ticket based, right? Where you've got a certain number of entries to compete
Yeah,
at
I've
the
been spreading
competition
that
level.
around. It would be kind of fun.
Right. I love that idea. And so any way that it's not just pure number of hours to win would be great. But I think what the spirit of your question is like, are there different metrics altogether, different types of leaderboards that we'd like to see? I think an assist leaderboard would be a great step in the
Mm-hmm.
right direction.
I agree.
It'd be kind of cool. I don't know if it's really leaderboard appropriate, just be a metric to track, but kills, specific kills with like a spell or a weapon, right? Like most kills with a longsword, most kills with a bardiche,
Mm.
most kills with a fireball, like that kind of stuff would be cool. But it's definitely lower prio than the other stuff.
Yeah, too narrow. But like, those are metrics that I do want to see. I wish I had a personal stat tab for my character like Tarkov, where I could just see how I'm performing with what spells and what weapons. That would be super awesome. I mean, they
Yeah.
have the stats, right? Like, they have them. They show the stats every playtest. Like, they just have to make like a UI feature where we can see it in real time. I'm not sure the
What about
logistics behind
PVE
that.
kills?
Yeah, I would love to see that too. I would love
Like
to
PvE
see,
kills, yeah.
A
yeah.
PVE kill
Oh, tracking.
leaderboard.
Monster kills, just like any monster at all, then that would, as long as
Mhm.
it's not spiders from the pots, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, too. That's a good title as well.
Yeah, that is a good one,
Yeah.
Monster
Oh,
Hunter.
I'm the rank 1 Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of cool, actually. I like that.
You could give us colored nameplates as well in the trade for leaderboarders, like top 5 or like top 3 get some X color because we already have the karma system, right? But like we could separate it where all season you just get a colored nameplate. It's aesthetic only. It basically does nothing, but it would be nice to have. As somebody who hasn't even made it like that high on any of the
Yeah,
leaderboards,
that
I
would be
think,
simple, too, right? Like,
yeah, like very simple, or it just says something like I don't know, whatever it is.
awesome. Like, what?
So one of the questions over here from Joel Master is, do we have any thoughts on whether or not legendary crafting items should have, I think he means visual effects, like they don't really,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm assuming like Fulgore, right? He says they currently don't
Yep.
do anything. I think an effect of like, a purple highlight or on a void blade or something like that would be cool. When
I
you
think it's in
actually
the
get contact.
works.
It's in the works.
think so.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's in the
they
works.
they said it was as well, something along those lines.
Awesome.
Because
Like
the artifacts are just so
yeah.
rare, it'd be cool to see, like, even just something small. Like Void Blade has just like a
Well, on
swish of
legendaries
purple.
though.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but even the gear, like just like different coloring. You don't have to make new models. You don't have to like stretch your model department to make new weapon models. Just give it some different coloring on the robe of darkness or on the demon clad leggings. You just do a color change on the spear of rot and stuff. Make it green or something. And nothing too. You don't have to go too crazy with it because like these are artifacts, but it's something that if you see somebody in game, oh, he's wearing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, like Danos Demon's Glee.
Yeah.
Like a little like demon laughter when he swishes it.
Something, yeah. That doesn't be too crazy.
That's a really good idea. Or sets. We can get set effects where if you have like let's say Robe of Darkness plus Cloak of Darkness plus like one crafted piece of like demon clad or whatever, it like your feet are like black glowing. Like a little cloud of darkness.
Set effects would be fun in this game, and just like a little tangent. I didn't even think about that, like just having set effects. Like if you're like, I'm 5 out of 5 Ruby Silver, and I get a set bonus of +5 will for doing so. I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be
Get a
really cool.
lobster
Something
emblem
basic.
right on the middle of the armor.
Yeah, yeah,
All 5.
A little lobster cage.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. My chat says, "How do you guys think Iron Mace can help make the game more forgiving for new and casual players?" I've
Buff
personally,
vendors, buff vendors back. That's the best thing they could
I
do.
agree with buff enders. It's like loot is already so plentiful. Why can't I just buy shit off the tailor and the leathersmith? That's like purple again. I thought that was
Well, it
fine.
doesn't have to be purple, but just more like decent rolled
More
greens and
statted, yeah.
blues. Yeah, that's all
Mhm.
you need.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I've said it for months and months, but I think we need a PvE mode. I don't think it hurts really anybody. It might take some players out of the PvP lobbies temporarily, but in the end, everyone is going to make their way there. Sometimes you just want to smoke or drink or play with your friends and just go PvE.
So I kind of I disagree. I don't think having a PvE only mode is good. But to play on that topic, there should be like a offline mode like Tarkov, where maybe you can queue with your friends if you want as well.
Oh,
Where,
yeah, that's
where you can go in, you could do the PvE, you could practice, but that loot does not save. I think if you have a
yes,
Right.
PvE only mode, it'll
Right.
fuck up the economy. But if you
right.
want to
Okay,
go
I
in there and
agree. I
practice
agree.
mobs, you want to go learn
Yeah.
some boss mechanics, you can go play offline mode. I think that would be fine. I think that would be healthy, and that would be good for new players to learn.
Or just
And we
make
know
it
they already
really
have the
cap
tech
it
to do
out.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When they had the rollback, when they had the non-database commit issue and they had to roll everything back because nothing was saving, they've already got that feature. They've already got it built in. So just don't commit anything to the database and everything's fine. Give them
Yeah, or
offline
just
mode, right?
really limit it. Like decrease the drop rates in there by 1,000%, so you can
Yeah,
get greens and blues, but like barely ever.
we didn't
So at
talk much
least
about the dupe and like the patch reverse from last week, but like one takeaway from that whole situation was, okay, they now have the ability to roll back the servers, and that's good. And
Mm-hmm.
then we found out they have the capability to get legacy items out of the game, and that's good. So like they're obviously learning from their past mistakes. We're never gonna have a legacy item issue again. And I know like this like out of nowhere, I just randomly thought of that because we were talking about their back end. But these are great things. Like sure, last week
Mhm.
we had some crazy things happen with the duping and the patch reversion, but the positive takeaways were that they have the tools in place to deal with those situations, and that's relieving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. What do you think about if it was an offline mode, giving people the ability to just loot white, like whites are the cap, all non-magical gear can still be taken out of the dungeon.
If
Not
it's
gold, it would only
yeah, if
be
it's
whites and
gear,
gray items
if it's
and
gear,
gear only.
that'd be fine. That wouldn't affect anybody. I mean, you might just have the problem. I think. What if you have all these overseas gamers that are making bots that are just running around automated looting just white things and
Yeah.
vendoring them?
And
You gotta loot
lockpicks.
a lot of
Yeah,
I don't
whites to
know.
make
They
that
they can
worth
just
it.
grab all
I
the
don't think that's
lockpicks.
ever gonna be worth it.
yeah. It's like it might be like 70 gold in your inventory, but like you might be able to automate it. That's I think botting. I think the WoW
Yeah.
class they can people making bots, and I don't know.
Yeah, still, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze there. Even, I mean, you got to buy a lot of copies of the
Yeah,
game and run
yeah.
a lot of different characters for not
Mhm.
very much reward. So,
I
yeah, I
like this
think
one
that's
too.
viable.
What do you guys think about starter kit only lobbies?
Yeah, I've been saying this
Like,
for I've been saying this
that's a
forever.
really good
I've been
suggestion.
saying I do this rant every day on my stream. I'll do it again here. High
Yep.
roller and normals, get rid of them. It should just be naked queue and should just be geared queue, and you could have the loot disparity of like high roller to normal, but have it naked versus geared, and get rid of the high roller entry fee.
Amen.
But yeah,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There
I
are
think that'd be
times,
fun too, because
yeah,
like just the end of the stream for an hour, you're just like, I just want to go into like the gearless queue and just arena.
it's a different game. It's it's
Mhm.
a completely different game, and it's fun and
Little shitty grays.
yeah, it's a good time, dude. It really
Yeah.
is. And it's nice to just have people have the option to go in with no risk and not have to worry about getting stomped by dorks like me running around in full epics. Or at least
What
when
do you
you're
think
fighting
about
dorks like me, I'm naked.
what do you think about a survival mode, like a Left 4 Dead type of scenario? Maybe not as a normal game mode, but as like a special event. That's coming from someone in the chat here.
I wish this game would just do more events in general. Not
Yeah.
specifically at the end of a season. Like after like your season has run its course, you've done your leaderboard, you've done like your whole season, you run the last week. have some fun RMAs, keep it fresh, and then you can probably
Right.
get some useful data from this. Like if like we were talking about earlier, if you give everybody a unique weapon off the jack-o'-lantern, you would get some really good data on how well these uniques are performing. Or if you do some kind of survival or left or demo that you're talking about, you'll get some really good data quickly on like PvE mobs. Like stuff like that would be cool. I've been saying I would love an end of season event on the Ruins map where it's 5 or 4 5-man teams on Ruins.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
that'd be
That'd be
cool.
cool.
5-man
Yeah.
teams
Yeah.
would be wild,
it
man.
would work on Ruins because the map is big and open enough. I think it
Yeah.
wouldn't work on
Right.
Crypts, but on
And
Ruins
you
it
put a
would
team
work.
in each corner.
Right.
That would be a
Yeah,
good
I
time.
love that
that would be
idea.
very interesting. I mean, especially as we head toward like this is way later, and I talk about it a lot, but as we head toward adventure companies, aka guilds and guild wars, like we need to at some point. I like the idea of getting more players together because you already have the friendly fire maxed out. It'd be cool to see what kind of comps people would bring and just like the clips and those really awesome like aha moments of somebody landing a fireball in like the middle of five guys looting another corpse and like just half their team is just decimated. That'd be so sweet. Or just like five rangers just trying to meme. You're just
Mhm.
firing arrows down. Like the play you could get from that would be substantial.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I imagine the clips just from that like week alone. If just
Yeah,
5-man
oh
teams on
yeah.
Ruins,
Right.
like just that footage alone would be better than any marketing you could do for the game.
No doubt.
Yeah, I like that. My chat called it Clash, the Clash event.
Hmm.
5 teams of 4 or 4 teams of 5.
Something like that, whatever. But yeah,
That'd be
that
fun.
would be sick. I would love that. So,
The amount of friendly fire kills just
Oh my
be
god.
oh,
ugh,
chain lightning would be supreme.
yeah.
I shot
Yep.
Nazori in the back twice yesterday in the same fight against Nakeds, and I had Centaur's Madness. I basically just two-shot him, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I must be sleepy.
Feels bad. Poor Nazori.
Speaking of Zori, we
Uh,
should have him on. I'm
yeah,
assuming we're
let's.
same bat time, same bat channel next week, which will be the day before TwitchCon
I
for
think that's
a
perfect.
lot of people.
Hmm.
Should we
That'll
have
be a
him
good
on next
one.
Thursday?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
let's let's ask him how he's feeling and bring him on.
I'll shoot him a message.
Be,
Okay.
be a good
I'm sure he'd
one.
be down if scheduling works out. I'm sure he'd be down.
Yeah.
Talking. He has a very unique opinions.
All right. Anything
All right,
else we want
boys.
to conclude with today?
I just want to say I'm looking forward to the Dragon Raid. Let's get a big World of Warcraft
Yes.
style Dragon Raid with like gates and DPS checks and
People keep talking
bring
about
it
like
on.
this hotfix being the deflation hotfix, but they were very vague in their wording.
They're big.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope they don't
Well,
overdo it. I hope they just barely tune it down. Barely.
What if in true Iron Maze fashion they're not nerfing it and it's actually a buff? Because like I said, they worded it very weird. Like we're doing some economy changes. I'm like that could be either way. Everyone assumes nerf for lots of gold. What if they're like, let's buff it? That would be an Iron Mace move. Probably not gonna
I would
happen.
love
But
it.
I
I would
imagine
take
they're
it
gonna like double the drop rate on like gold chests and like wolf hides, so people can just craft more shit so their stashes aren't insane. And in a way, that does deflate. 'Cause if everybody has more space in the stash, then everything is worth less. In a way, right? Like gold keys wouldn't be worth it. My main thing, I guess, before we go, my biggest note for the current economy situation is that I hate that no one uses keys anymore.
I've been
There's no
saying
reason to use keys ever again because the keys are worth
keys.
5 times the shit you can pull out of the
Simple
Oh,
keys.
sure.
fix. Simple fix. Keys
Yeah.
should not be. They should be boom. Hot fix Friday. Golden keys are no longer tradable.
No
Problem solved.
keys. Mystical gems aren't tradable.
Yeah.
Gold keys and skull keys. You just got to
'Cause,
use your own keys.
like sure, I get value storage, but the problem
Oh
with
my
was
god!
that
Imagine the gold traders.
yeah, they just
Inventory's
don't
full
get
of
they don't
worthless
get
keys.
used.
Holy shit!
No one's using keys, and that's lame. That's like the bad part of it.
That
Right?
is really lame. I
Yeah.
hate that. I'll never find a key on anybody that didn't
Mhm.
find it in raid like that. It's boring. It's a really weird.
Yeah.
I dislike that.
Keys not tradable. Get on an Iron Mace.
Yep. That's an easy fix too, and it really savages the high end of wealth players.
Yeah, fine.
But
Get
Yeah,
'em.
you could replace it. You could say anybody that's got a key in their inventory currently is going to get
Well, think about it.
compensated with 5 gold ingots or something, and then just get all the keys out of everyone's
Dude,
inventories.
burn them.
wait,
Those
wait,
people,
actually, I like that idea too.
they
Though.
would run the keys. They would just run the keys for gold, and that would be good for the game. There'd be people
That
out
would
there
be good for the
hitting
game. Yeah, I
keys.
agree. And you could sell carries or like
Mhm.
protect me, and I get 3 of the pulls.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of being able to buy keys. Like after this, what if we make it so you can trade X, Y, and Z for a gold key, and then it's bound and you have to use it? Like
Yeah, it
I don't know,
could
like
be a
crafting mats for
barter.
keys. Yeah, like an infernal ore that you can only find in HR Inferno.
You
You
could
need like 9 infernal ore
yeah,
plus. I
you
don't
could
know.
just melt down your fucking gold bars and do a golden key. It's already
Yeah, I'm cool
there.
with
Boom.
that.
Whatever barter you want. Just like Tarkov has barters for certain key cards and certain keys. You
I
could do
like
that in
this. I
this
like the
game.
idea of bartering.
Bartering is good. Bartering is very good in these kind of games because like it makes other items besides gold valuable, and you want that. You want like diversified value amongst items.
Agreed. That's a
Alright,
good
guys.
place to end it, gents.
Yeah, that
It's
is a great
been
one.
a pleasure as
As
always.
always. Yes.
Enjoy the dungeons for the remainder of the week. Hopefully, we get a good hot fix on Friday. I'm sure I'll
And
be
good
talking
luck
to you boys
leaderboarding.
before next Wednesday. Yeah, good luck.
I'm
And whatever the
sure.
leaderboard looks like.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Iron Mace won't completely break the game on Friday. They've never done it in the past. They have been stellar with these hot fixes, and I am excited for all the positivity they're going to bring on Friday. Let's go, Iron Mace. I'm
John
excited.
Quincy Iron Mace knows what they're doing. All right, Friday is coming.
It's going to be good.
All right,
All right,
guys.
well,
Take it easy.
All right, all. Thanks everybody in the chat
All right.
and all the chats everywhere. You guys rock. Hold the line. We'll see you
Hold
next
the
week.
line, baby.
See you next
Ciao.
week.
Cheers.
Peace.